Hello, my merry band of O-Satters, and well, hasn't it turned out wintry? The heating is on, I'm nice and warm in my little cosy snug here, but goodness, for some reason, since we moved in here in July, Ben and I don't really know how to sort out the heating. Some of the radiators don't seem to come on. We've wiggled knobs, I've bled them. So this, thankfully, the knitting room is or my study or the den or my room, or I haven't really quite settled on what I want to call it yet. Thankfully, it's nice and warm. I know I'm sort of all cardiganed up and sitting here chilly, but I'm right in here, thankfully, but the rest of the house is freezing. So a lot has been going on since I last saw you. It's been a busy time, and let's crack on with that, shall we? I shall start with the roundup and the events of the weekend. Some of you will remember that 2.5 years ago, 2.5 years ago, it was May 2017, I took part in a TV show called Pitch Battle, and with not me on my own, it was me singing with the vocal harmony group Vocally Bespoke that I sing with, and we went on to this TV show, which is kind of like X Factor or American Idol for groups of singers rather than individuals, and we didn't do that well. We were sort of booted out in the first round, unfortunately. However, the people that we were up against, the battles that we had, they went on and won the series. Doesn't that mean we came second? If we were booted out by the winners, we were second, right? Not quite. However, Vocally Bespoke is still going on. We are a corporate event and singing group, and we will come to your house party, wedding, corporate event and sing some songs. And it's a lot of fun. I haven't had a chance to be with the gang very much recently because the knitting events in my life sort of have overtaken everything, and I wasn't available. But due to unforeseen circumstances, one of the team had to come off the gig on Saturday, and there was a gig on Saturday. That was I've sort of got out of the habit of talking to people today. I've been sitting at my computer, not doing very much, and I appear to have forgotten how to form sentences. That's not great, is it, for somebody who's planning to speak to you for the next hour or so? Bear with me. I'm doing my best. So it was a wedding, and weddings obviously carry with them big responsibility, and it's someone's incredibly special day. I know this. I have had one of my own, as I'm sure all of you now know. For anybody who doesn't know, for anybody who genuinely might not be aware of this, Ben and I got married on national television in the form of a film musical. It looks like this. And we got nominated for a BAFTA for it, and it was all very marvellous and great. So enough of that. It's hard to know. The reason I said that is because since all the upheaval of the summer, I know a lot of followers have left, but I also know a lot of new subscribers have started, and I don't know how much these people know about me. So I didn't even say, welcome to the Sockmatician podcast. What's wrong with me? Welcome to the Sockmatician podcast. My name is Nathan Taylor, and you are very welcome here. And I hope we shall become firm friends, and thank you very much for wanting to be part of my journey. There you go, that's that bit done. So I was there in this group. There were only 6 of us doing it. I think we were 13 on the TV show, but we were a sort of nebulous group, and you can hire as many people or as few as you wish for us to come sing for you. And I was the bass, not really bass, just the lower of the 2 men. There was one other chap, Lee J, and 4 ladies, and we travelled up to Nottingham to sing at this wedding. So the plan was that we were going to do a sort of flash mob in the service itself. So at the point where the couple were pronounced husband and wife, and their hands were bound by the vicar's robe sash thing, I'm not quite sure what it's called, and the cue that we had was to be what God has brought together, let no man put us under. And I said, is that an anaesthetist's joke? Let no man put us under. It didn't go down very well. I'm never going to stop with the bad puns, ever, ever. It's too much part of my DNA. That was our cue, and we were dotted around the church, and we had been given no backstory at all. Have you seen what my hair's doing? Dreadful. We hadn't been given any backstory at all. I've made it worse. How's that? We hadn't been given any backstories at all, so none of us knew how we were supposed to have met or got to know the bride or groom. So we were just hoping, sitting on our own, literally in as solo entities, we just hoped that nobody would talk to us for the duration of the service. Because I had been brought on at the last minute, and because I haven't sung with the gang for a year at least, I desperately wanted to go through the material. There was... Excuse me while I turn my email machine onto silent. Is that silent? Yeah, there you go. It had been a while since I'd sung with them. There was some new material that I hadn't sung, and I hadn't sung the versions of the old stuff for a very, very long time. And actually some of the stuff that we did on the TV show was being done in a different format, so I had quite a lot of learning to do over the few days that I was given in order to get myself shipshape and ready to play. So I was desperately hoping for some rehearsal. I travelled up on my own. It was really frustrating really, because there are two people that live in North London or fairly near me, and I could have travelled to either one of them and travelled up with them. One of them had gone to visit his mum the night before and wasn't going from London, and the other one was not coming home after the gig either. So it's like, argh. If I'd thought about it, if I'd really thought about it, I could probably... do you know, I've only just thought this through now. I could probably have gone up with one of them and back with the other. That would have worked rather well. And we could all have saved some petrol money, saved the planet, and had some nice company on the way. Darn it, I'm annoyed now. Just didn't think about it. So I went up on my own, and I had some audio files. I was singing constantly all the way up. So this flash mob thing, at the point where no anaesthetist shall put us under, I was one of the first to stand up. The lady who was going to be singing first stand up, and I was then the next person, and we were just going to pop up through the church. I'm doing this like there's millions of us, 6 of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's it, no more. And I'm just monitoring myself. I've gone completely in my head, and I'm realising that I'm burbling like a fool. I really haven't spoken to anyone for a couple of days, and it clearly takes its toll. Composure. You're a podcaster, Nathan. You've been doing this for a long time. You know exactly what it's all about, and you are able to do this without looking like a fool. And we were singing "You're Just Too Good to Be True," and it was just a lovely, lovely arrangement with lots of oohs and lots of lovely like calypso rhythms. It was really, really nice. And we arrived at the church. It was freezing. Beautiful little church, gorgeous little jewellery box church. Very, very old, but with no heating to speak of. The verger, who was the vicar's wife, said that she would put the heating on for the before the service, try and take the chill off the end. There wasn't a toilet in there. We had to sort of go out of the building, down the lane, and into a school building to use the lavvy. But that was heated, so we all clustered around outside the toilet door for ages. And then, once we'd managed to get everything set up, we thought, okay, we'll just start singing and we'll place things and we can spread ourselves around and plan what was going to happen, because you can never do this stuff in advance. You can kind of talk about it nebulously, but until you see the space, you don't really know exactly what's going to happen. And it's nice not to be winging it. No such luck. The guests started to arrive almost immediately. They were coming in an hour earlier than we'd been told that they'd be allowed to. And so we went out into the woods, behind the church. That's all we could do. There's nowhere else to go. So we all bundled up and went into the woods, and it looked like this. There we were, singing in the woods, and I swear, I've said this to a few people, I'll give somebody £50 if they can guess what happened next. Except I'm not going to take this from you because there's nowhere proving that you haven't watched this first. Well, forgive the ropey singing on this. We are much better than this, but we were all laughing hysterically by the time this clip was taken because this is what happened.
Have a good time, don't stop me, have a good time, don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time, I'm having a ball.
Whoever would have thought that a whole load of segways would have invaded our rehearsal in the woods? I'm not sure who was the most surprised, whether it was them or whether it was us. We laughed and laughed and laughed and got very little rehearsal done. So there was a great deal of winging being done, and it's all we could do, really, wasn't it? We just had to do our best. Another thing, so once excuse me, once we had got up and sung, we sort of moved to the front and sang directed to the bride and groom. We then had to move from their chairs so we could sort of like sneak around to the side of the pulpit, and we were there for the rest of the service. We had 3 songs to sing during the signing of the registers, and then we were singing what you just heard, Don't Stop Me Now, as the bride and groom and congregation were processing out of the church. I was standing there and I heard this little, like, I don't know what it sounded like. I can't really sort of replicate the sound. It sounded like, or maybe, oh, that's a good noise. Can you hear that? It's just like this little pitter patter. It wasn't an animal, don't worry. And then I felt something on my head. I didn't want to sort of be staring up at the roof of this church while the service was going on, because we were standing up the front, everyone was looking in our direction. It would have been very obvious. But I was starting to get a little bit concerned about what it was that was clearly pattering down around me. It wasn't water. It was masonry. I saw my friend Kylie was standing in front of me, and I saw this limestone dust sprinkle down and land on her head. At one point, I murmured to her out of the corner of my mouth, Kylie, are you aware that we're being rained on by masonry? She said, yes, I am. It's been happening all the way through the service. I said, should we run and move somewhere else? Are we going to lose the roof any second? And then actually, as I look down, I think it's where leaks have happened in the roof, and the water has mixed with sort of the minerals in the stone, and it's that was sprinkling down. I don't think it was the rocks themselves, but I think it was, but there was this like sort of a fine white dust all over the floor. I was very glad to move, I have to say. I was very glad when we were able to move on. Then we had to do some more singing, 5 more songs at the drinks reception later that afternoon as well, and then I drove home. I had a really, really nice time, and I was reminded again, and now please don't take this the wrong way, because I value knitting and I value my friends, my true friends in the knitting community very, very highly. But I was reminded again how much that while knitting is definitely something I do, singing and making music with other people, just like when I did the television thing the other week, that's who I am. I enjoyed it so much. I enjoy, I feel I'm doing what I've been put on this planet to do, and I that's not sort of from a divine perspective or not. That's me. It's what I am, who I am. It's what I do, and it just. I feel alive when I'm performing. I feel content, and don't we all need a little bit of that every now and then? It was rather wonderful. Since then, I've been doing rather a lot of knitting, which is great. I don't often get a chance to do much knitting during the week. Ben was away Monday to Thursday last week, and I've been binge watching The Good Place. Now, really binge watching. On Wednesday last week, I think I well, I don't think, I know. I watched 16 40-minute episodes of The Good Place. More than an entire series. I was partway through season 1, I got into season 3. Sitting in this chair, it probably looks a bit different. As you can see, it's sort of this sort of chintzy colour now. That's the colour it's always been. I've just taken the throw off. It needs a bit of a wash. Sitting in this chair, and I sit back and I grab my knitting, and I spin the monitor around on my computer, which is usually facing the other way because my desk is just there. I spin it around this way, and I've got Netflix on. Very comfortable, very, very happy indeed. And it's I love The Good Place. I've learnt a lot about ethics, and I've learnt about people, and I've corroborated what I thought about people, and it's been fascinating. Oh gosh, not giving anything away if you haven't watched it. You should. Sorry, I've got a very froggy throat today. You should if you haven't. It's marvellous. It is on Netflix. I don't know if it's on any other streaming media, but the season 3 finale broke me. It's a light-hearted, gentle comedy, but as American series tend to, when they're done well, tend to be, it goes far deeper than that. And it touches on love and loss, two of my absolute triggers. And it's, oh gosh, I can't even tell you what happened because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who has yet to watch it. But it destroyed me. And when I say destroyed, I mean tears, yes, moist eye. I'm an emotional man. That happens. But also, which wouldn't stop, and snot bubbles, actual snot bubbles. I was in pieces, and I suddenly realised, gosh, I don't think this is about The Good Place at all. I think this is unlocking something deeper within me that I probably need to address at my next counselling session. So I'm fine. A basket case, but fine. So that was fun. And what I was doing while I was knitting it was I was working on. I tell you what, round up, schmound up. This podcast just blurs into one old chat now, doesn't it? So let's talk about what's on my needles. Because it's still the big green and blue shawl, Hampton Court, the shawl will be called. For those of you who haven't yet seen it, it looks like this. This is, oh, it's so beautiful. Look, the yarn is so gorgeous. That's the top middle of it, and it hangs down. It's ever so large. It really is. Still on the needles, but what I have done is I had this sort of peacock feather pattern in this sort of triangle shape, and I knew I could go on forever as long as I had the yarn. Now, this yarn is the Terra base by the Fibre Company. It's wonderful. It's a single. I don't usually work with singles because I don't find them clean lines enough, but this one's really well spun. That's what it looks like, and it is merino, baby alpaca and silk. It's gorgeous. It's fuzzy, it's going to halo, it's going to bloom. I'll probably need to give this a bit of a shave before I photograph it, but that'll just keep it looking nice for the future. And then I will block it a little bit because I want to sort of make sure it's a nice proper triangular shape, because at the moment it tends to want to be a bit out shape when it lies down, so I'm stretching it out like that, which is encouraging to see that it pop there, which does feel like it wants to be the triangle after all, which is great. But I had no idea how to end it. I could have carried on adding feathers and layers of feathers as I kept going on until I ran out of yarn, but I thought, well, I need to leave some yarn back, and I just need to give it an ending. Well, it kind of took care of itself. I had plans at one point of having this big scallop shapes on the end, which would have meant knitting one little peak and then breaking the yarn and joining another place. I thought, you know what, there's already quite a lot of work in this. I don't want to give people the sense that when they get to the end it gets even more complicated. It's an easy knit as far as double knitting is concerned, really. I wasn't following a chart for this at all. I was just sort of like, it's so logical. The progression is very clear what you need to do next. But I just could not figure out how to do it. And I think the answer sometimes is simplify, simplify, simplify. As a designer, I have to tell myself, simplify. If you are stuck on something, step back. Step back a long way. Step back a long way and get perspective of the piece as a whole and what does it need. it's busy and it's beautiful. It doesn't need complicating at the end. So I've just let the end be what it wants to be. I'll just make sure I don't lose any stitches so I can show you. And the end looks like this. So I've got a little bit lacy with it. Can you see here? You can see through, there's all lacy holes there, which is all very, very lovely. And of course on the other side it's the blue side. So I've had one layer of feathers which are smaller than the others, and that kind of like sort of gives a little demarcation of the end of that pattern. And then out there, and then this whole section, it filters out to this lovely feathered edge. Can you see? It's probably easy to see on the blue side actually. Can you see what's going on there? So these lines of stitches now go out diagonally rather than in columns there, and that's just an end of changeable, and it's really rather lovely. I love the fact that these are centre double decreases, and these are the lines between two yarn overs each time to balance it out so you get the right number of stitches keeping there. But I love the fact that you get the contrast lines coming through which lead from the ends of the eyes of the feathers there. It works really, really nicely. So it's done. It's still on the needles, as you can see. It is it was still on the needles. Now rather a lot of it isn't. Let me just see what I've done here. God. That's not what I wanted at all. Oh no. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I'm just going to put it gently to the side. It's not a problem. Nothing has been lost. It's just slipped off the needles. I just need to slip it all back on again and then tidy up any stitches which are facing the wrong way. That will be fine. Let me talk about it in a much more nebulous way, shall I? I'm just staring out there going, I'm going to put you off now. You're not going to be able to concentrate on anything now because you know you've got live stitches in the wild. One idiot. It will be fine. I promise you. I'll let you know on Instagram. What I had done, what I was about to say, was I have got to the stage where I am. It's a Kitchener graft that I'm doing across the long end. So it's a lot of stitches. I'm not entirely sure. Let me see if I can bring up the chart. Here it is. Let's make it full screen, and then I can probably spin you around and show you. So, just want to make sure I've got nothing else on the screen that you shouldn't see. Not that I have things like that. So the chart looks like that. That's obviously one. That's only one half. That's one half of the shawl with a spine down one of those sides, and double that. It's a lot of stitches across the top. It's also it's not just a lot of stitches across the top. A double knitted chart only ever shows you this one half, the front half. So there's twice as many stitches, 4 times as many stitches as that, plus some more. It's a big graft. And because of the way the design works, I don't want to do the graft all in one colour. It took me a little while to work out how to do this, but it's actually quite a simple process. So whenever you're doing a Kitchener graft, it only builds up one layer of stitches. I don't know if you're aware of this. So when you're kitchening together the toe of a sock, and you've got the stitches on the front needle and stitches on the back needle, they come together like this. Actually, they come together in between each other, if truth be told. So they come together like this, rather like a clam, and you are basically building up one row of stitches. Well, when you've got, and that's okay, because at the end of a toe you want that row of stitches to sit exactly halfway between top and bottom, there, like that. That's okay then, but when you're doing double knitting, I'm realising I'm on a bit of a slant, it's making my CDO jangle a little bit. There we go. So when, let me get this right so you can understand what I mean. When you are grafting two sides of a piece of fabric together and you want the reversibility, what you don't want is a line of stitches that sits in the middle there, because that would mean that one side was sort of longer than the other. So if I just Kitchener on this side where my fingers are wiggling, then I would add one row of stitches and make that side taller, and it would have to go like that. What you want is the two sides to come together like that. So what you need to do is you build up one layer of stitches on the back. Excuse me, I'm really bilious, I do apologise, it's really rude. On the back side of the fabric only. And I said back side, that's also rude. So you build up one layer of stitches with like the purl stitches only, and then you Kitchen across the front, building that layer up to meet the extra layer of purl stitches that you made across the back. Do you understand what I mean? And so where you want to change colour, what I'm doing is I have got the stitches, I do the purl stitches up until the point where I change colour. Then I slide the stitches back to the beginning of the row. It's a bit like doing a traditional brioche. And then, don't get me wrong, I love brioche, I just don't like doing it the traditional way. I much prefer double-knitted brioche, clearly, because I'm about to write a book on it. So once you slid the stitches back, then you can Kitchener front to back faces of the fabric to each other until you get to that colour change point. Then you can just swap the colours over and work with the other colour to purl to the next colour change, slide the stitches back, Kitchen across the middle to the point where the two yarns are together again, switch them over and keep going as many times as you like. It can be, it's a bit more time consuming, definitely, and it takes it's a bit more concentration, but I'm having to write down every single step as I go, which is why that's still on the screen and that's still off the needles, but going there. But I think when you've spent a good block of time working on a shawl, I think what's really exciting is knowing that you're taking the time to finish it as well as you can. Take that little bit of extra effort. So what? So I might work on that Kitchener graft for an entire day. If you don't like Kitchener graft, well, tough really. That's the end. That's the best way, the most attractive, the cleanest, the simplest way of as in simple to look at, way of closing up double knitting. I could do it with just 3-needle bind off. It'd be ugly. It'd be ridged and horrid. I want perfection. I've spent a lot of time on this shawl and I want it to be as beautiful as I can possibly make it. And this is the way to do it. So yeah, I'm going to take the extra time, and yes, I'm going to make it work, and it will be worth it. It's going to look beautiful when it gets back on the needles, in order for me to take it back off the needles by Kitchening in the aforesaid manner. Right, what else have I been working on? I have been working on... actually, do you know what? It's in the other room, I'll get that later. I've been knitting a hat. Now this is a hat that, it's not actually for the new book. I don't think it's going to go in the new book, not because I'm not happy with it, I just think I can do more with the concept, and I want to demonstrate the sort of the boundaries of where I can push double-knitted brioche. So more about the book in a minute, obviously. But this is a hat that I have put together for a friend of mine's birthday, and it features 4 of the phases of the moon. You can see there we've got a crescent moon, there we've got a full moon or a dark moon, there we've got the crescent moon going the other way, and there we've got the half moon. It's very nice. It is of course double-knitted brioche. Double-knitted brioche looks like this. It's not brioche, it's really not brioche, it is double-knitted brioche. The crown is very nice, it's just 4 quarters that come together like that. The inside, of course, being double-knitted brioche, is entirely reversible, and now we've got the crescent moons are blue rather than red, the full moon is red rather than the blue that it is on the inside. So it's got all the trappings of double-knitted brioche. It's a big hat. It's sort of deliberately large. I wanted to make it so that it would be really slouchy and sit very nicely as it's a big hat. And I love that. It is incredibly warm. It's made with DK weight yarn. Do you like that? I say it's double-knitted brioche, of course it is. These bits are clearly not double-knitted brioche. Can you see? Let me get the lighting on there. These bits are actually, this is standard double knitting, that's what that is. But in the way that only only double knitted brioche can really do. You can transition so easily from double knitted brioche in and out of double knitting without having to do anything in two passes. None of that malarkey. I don't want any of that going on. So gosh, this hat is incredibly warm. My husband, the maverick that he is, thinks it might be fun to wear it with a double fold, so like this, so that you get to see the fact that we've got the blue ribs here and the red ribs there. He's mad, clearly, although actually, I say he's mad, it's not that bad an idea. It's really, it's super warm. It really is warm. The yarn is from Skeins in America, New Zealand, from Design Spun, and it is this base here, it's the Chatsworth base. It's a multi-fibre blend, it's 8-ply DK, what does it say here? It doesn't really say what's in it. It's clearly got merino in it. 104 meters per 50 grams. It's really soft. It's a very loosely plied. It's a two-fold yarn, I think. So it's an 8-ply in terms of weight, but if you untwist it, it's very clearly, you can see that there. It's very clearly only 2 plies, even though it's an 8-ply yarn. 8-ply is the weight, but it's a two-fold. So it's a two-fold 8-ply, if you're doing. And the folds are the strands that get twisted together. This I learnt when I had my tour of the very mill that this comes from in New Zealand last year. So I used a little bit less than a ball of each colour. This is what I've got left over. Clearly my pearl stitches are looser than my knits. I've got a lot less left of the red than I have of the blue, and it was all the blue stitches that were on the outside. I knitted this way out here and used a lot less of the blue than I did the red, because the red's all on the inside, which is a sign that I very, very much need to look at my tension when I'm doing this sort of thing. I'm exactly the same with double knitting. Look, you can wear it as slouchy as you want. I really like this. I think this is going to be incredibly warm and cozy. However, why is it not going in the book? Well, it's not going in the book for lots of reasons. I think partly, while I love the moon phases, while I love the fact that I've proved to myself that you can come in and out of double knitted brioche and create lots of different shapes with lots of different effects by doing that into the double knitting as well. What a hat like this, which really does want to have this massive, huge cuffed brim for to make it fit, because it was deliberately large and slouchy, but it is very loose and generous, but that gives it so much warmth. It obscures the pattern, but you know, by tucking it up as much as you want to for this is what I wanted the shape of the hat to look like. I got this absolutely right, but it doesn't leave you much space to put a pattern. But many would say the texture is enough, and they're probably right. I may actually put this in as a very basic hat pattern and just make it as a double knitted brioche standard thing, just this shape. It does look a lot like a Pac-Man ghost, don't you think? I don't know what Pac-Man noises the ghosts made, but it's clearly it's not quite right. However, the design, and a very good friend of mine, I showed her this on WhatsApp yesterday, because she and I don't live in the same country, and she said, you're going to make a matching scarf. When I was putting this pattern together, it bothered me that I could only use 4 of the moon phases. And of course I wanted, there are all sorts of different gradations of the shape that you can use, and I suddenly thought, how amazing would it be, my friend, she's absolutely right, how amazing would it be to be able to have a very long scarf and put the phases of maybe 8 or even more, whatever. I'll do some research and find out a number that works really well, or make up some of my own, and just have these patterns going down the whole length of the scarf, because then you'd really see them. You wouldn't have them obscured by a cuffed up brim, and I think that's going to be really, really lovely. This hat is so warm and cozy. I really love it, and I've learnt as well that things itch your head less if they're not elasticated and tight around them. So that's one thing I've learned from this. I can wear this for quite a long time. I'm not very sensitive to wool itch, but I sometimes am if it's on my forehead. Around my neck I can wear anything, but if it's around my forehead, not necessary so much. Whereas this, it just sits there and it just keeps incredibly warm. The reason I made it in the first place was because there's a group of friends, you'll know stories of me going camping with Ben's university friends. There are 4 of the girls he went to university with who are part of this set, and their attendant partners and now children, of course. And when we went to Hampton Court the other week, and I took a couple of photographs of the Hampton Court shawl, it was the same group of people, and 3 of the 4 were there. One lives in Scotland, so couldn't attend, and 2 of the 3 who were there happened to both be wearing hats that I had knitted for them at some point. Not as part of a thing, it's just like, one was the Wuppertal hat and one was the Hillary hat. In fact, the Hillary hat was being worn by Hillary. That's why it's called the Hillary hat. And the third lady felt a bit left out, and I felt bad. She made some sort of joke, oh, am I the only person who doesn't have a hand-knitted hat? And it was quite clear that there was only some jest in that. So I just need to make sure what the time is, because I don't want to miss my appointment this evening. This evening is oh, I've got to go very soon actually. So she was a little bit saddened by that, and her birthday's coming up soon, and I know she's not going to watch this, so I can talk about it there. So that was really that's what catalysed it. She'll get this. I don't think this will go into the book as is. I think it might without this. Very, very simple. One of the simpler patterns, sort of like easy entry pattern. I think that'd be a great idea. But I will develop it into a scarf, which should go into the book itself. Now onto the book. I cannot be more excited about this. The book, as you all know, got funded in 48 hours and less. It was extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary, and I could not be more grateful. Thank you to everybody who's backed it. The pledging process was open for 30 days, and it finished on Monday last week, so a week ago yesterday. Gosh, is it already that long? This week has really flown by. It's already it's been done. So I'm sorry if you wanted to pledge and haven't, you now can't. You'll just have to sit tight. There's nothing lost. You just won't get the early bird copy of the book. That's fine. It'll only be a couple of weeks after that it'll be on sale to everybody else, and you can download your own copy, which would be lovely. So if you do wish to, please hang around. It should be, I'm hoping it'll be out end of May, early June next year. That's the plan. And of course, now the money is, I say it's in, now the money is capped, I can start work. It's not, I haven't got the money yet. It's going to take a few weeks, I think, I'm not quite sure what the process is. It's done through Kickstarter, and what they do is they collect it from the various people who've pledged it. I'm so sorry, I got a phone call at that point. I don't know what you heard me say. The Kickstarter, they hold the I think they hold it all in a pot until they've got it all. They take their fees, any credit card fees and all the rest of it, and then they will credit my bank account with the balance of what's left. And I was astonished. You raised nearly £20,000, which was 166% of the asking price, the asking amount. Thank you. I wanted 12,000 because I wanted 10. I got nearly 20,000. Now I need to use this very, very wisely indeed, and I don't want to sort of fritter this away. So my plan is to really invest in the process of writing the book, making it a really, really exquisite piece. I'm I've decided I'm not going to do the photography myself. I'm going to invest in somebody who knows what they're doing, and that's one thing. It means I can properly pay any other contributors, so anyone who helps with layout design, anybody who's going to be tech editing, proofreading, copy reading, anybody who gives any services for this. I'm pulling my pants, to be honest. I really am. I've never done anything like this before. The money is coming to me in the next couple of weeks. I now have responsibility to deliver the project. And I've got quite a long time to be able to do it. But there's a lot of work. I haven't done anything yet. And that's deliberate. There's other things I wanted to get off. I want to get that off the needles sooner than I planned, clearly. The Hampton Court shawl is now partly off the needles. I'm fine, I'm fine. And there's a few patterns I want to release, not least of which the Restoring Forces hat, which I wear a lot. Coming up to World AIDS Day, so I'm wearing my plethora of different Pride enamel pins here. I enjoy wearing this hat a lot. I wear it where people can see exactly how proud I am to be who I am, because I think that's a really important aspect of life. So what I'm basically trying to say is the book is underway. The first thing I need to do is I still need to, and this is my job for tomorrow, is to get they call them backer surveys, so I have to send out surveys to everybody who's sent any money, and so I can get the information I need from them in order to be able to provide them with the rewards that they are due. A lot of you, well over 100 people, pledged to have the book and 15 of my patterns. Well, that's absolutely on its way, and it'll be done in the form of Ravelry download codes. So you don't need a Ravelry account, because I know a lot of people don't have those anymore. You don't need a Ravelry account in order to be able to use the code, and no money is going to Ravelry, because I know that's also a problem for people. So I'm being mindful of that, but in order to alleviate a lot of admin for me, these will not be codes that are attached to anything. So I don't need to know, if you're a person who's bought that reward, I don't need to know which patterns you want. I will send you 15 single-use codes. You can go to my shop on Ravelry, stick in the code, choose what you want, stick in the code, and it will just happen. That's really, really exciting. So I will send those codes on to you. I think that's how it's going to work. I need to look into it, but I'll send those codes out in due course. And then when it comes to the upper echelons of the prizes, which are the classes, the Skype classes, and the idea of what's it called? Developing. That's the word I'm looking for. Developing a pattern with me. You know who you are. I can't wait. I'll be in touch very soon, and I'm really looking forward to working with you. I cannot tell you how much I am. And all the information, I'll be sending that out to you over the next couple of days, and then I'll be liaising and everything. So there's a lot to do, and that's nothing to do with writing the book itself. Writing the book itself, I'm going to start with not a synopsis, a contents page. I'm going to write myself a contents page and let it flow from there. It's a big job. Big job I'm really, really looking forward to. Now, finally, before I disappear, I want to talk to you all about some really exciting news, as if the book wasn't enough. Some really exciting news. I want to be the first to announce here on the podcast that for any of you who have really enjoyed working with and knitting with the Sockmatician Edition Yarn range, which I can show you what the colours look like, because I've got my original set here that I was given in New Zealand still in the bag. These are mine, and I am not going to be using these ever. I love these so much. So the Sockmatician Edition range is the 6 colours of the Pride rainbow flag: red, orange, yellow, green, blue and purple, a dark grey and a light grey, and they're all over dyed on this light grey base actually, and that's what gives them this dark muted feel. I've spoken about it at length, but for anyone who doesn't know what that is, go to sockmatician.com and head to the Sockma shop, and you can read all about what's going on there. Now, we're expanding the range. We're adding 2 more colours to it. I've been working with Marie Buskey at Skeins, who I developed this yarn with originally, and we're adding 2 more colours. And you think, well, how can that be? The Pride Rainbow is 6 stripes. Well, it wasn't always thus. That's all I'm going to say. We're adding 2 more colours to it, and I'll be announcing that very, very soon. Probably this is a pre-announcement. But most excitingly of all, so that's going to expand the range from 8 colours to 10 colours. But most excitingly of all, we're bringing out a range of DK weight yarn as well. It's still the Sockmatician brand, it's still the Sockmatician range. It's the same, roughly the same fibre. This is all made with recycled fibre and reclaimed fibre from the machine. So the actual balance of the fibre blend might vary slightly from batch to batch, but it'll still be the same dark, brooding, muted rainbow in all 10, including the 2 new colours, in all 10 colours. I am so excited about this. I used to work with sock weight yarn all the time. In fact, most of my stash is sock weight yarn. I'm now getting really, really into DK weight yarn, and this is going to be amazing. So one of the patterns, at least one of the patterns in the ebook, will be made with the new DK weight Sockmatician range yarn, and one will be, I'm going to make one with the colours of of my rainbow as well, all 10 colours, which is going to be really, really exciting. So that is all happening very, very soon. I'm recording this today, which is what date is it today? It's the 19th of November. This Sunday, which is, let me get my dates sorted out here. This Sunday, which is, oh, do you know what, this is awful. Okay. It's the 19th of November today. Sunday is the 24th of November. 24th of November, I can't believe I'm saying this, pre-sales for the yarn go on order. If you want a chance of getting your yarn with you in time for Christmas, get your pre-orders in as soon as you can. So pre-orders will be open on Sunday. I'm going to be working all this week trying to get the website up and running, sorting it all out. So if you're on the website and you see screwy things going on, fear not. It's just because I'm busy trying to get everything sorted for the new unveiling. So we've got 2 new colours and 10 colours of DK weight yarn going on sale. It's a big, big expansion to the range. I am so excited about this. The yarn as it is at the moment is so delicious to work with. It's soft and it's fluffy and it's warm because of the possum content. I can't wait to feel it in the DK weight. I know a few people have already made things by holding it double, my own father included, making a hitchhiker, mixing 2 colours together, having a wonderful time doing it. But having the DK weight out there, I think is going to make a world of difference to a lot of people. I'm really hoping that you will want some. Here's the thing, the yarn hasn't been dyed yet. It's still in New Zealand in its undyed state, and it's been spun and it's ready. They're going to be dyeing it over the next couple of weeks. So even though sales are going on, pre-sales are going on sale on Sunday, we have to wait until the yarn is made and until it gets to us as well. So the plan is, as far as Sam and I, my sister, Sockma siblings, as far as Sam and I are aware, the last post for posting from the UK to the US is the 15th of December. We will do our absolute best to make sure that any orders received before the 15th of September will go out in time for Christmas. But please, please be aware, this might not be possible. There's a lot of variables in play at the moment. As I say, the yarn, there could be hiccups and hold-ups at the mill. There could be hiccups with getting it packaged and sent to us. We need to get some over from New Zealand to England, which is going to take several days. We then need to be able to turn that around and send it out to you. So at any stage of the game, there could be snarl-ups and delays, but our intention is to get it out. So if you're thinking, I'd like to buy this for a Christmas present, then please be aware, we will do our very, very best to get it to you for that. But either way, you'll get it eventually, and it will be absolutely beautiful, and you'll get it, you know, who needs it immediately at Christmas? No one knits on Christmas Day, really, with their new stuff, because they don't know they're getting it. They don't necessarily do a Christmas Day cast on, do you? I mean, I might be wrong. Don't write in. What I'm trying to say is we'll do our best. You heard that several times, right? Yes? If we can't get it to you, I deeply apologise, but that is certainly our intention. Let's hope that intention matters for something these days. So, from the 24th of November, you'll be able to purchase online just by going to Sockmatician. I would say, if anybody lives in New Zealand or in Australia or anywhere that's nearer to there than here being London in the UK, don't buy from us. Skeins obviously will also be selling it from the Southern Hemisphere. So if you live in the Southern Hemisphere and the shipment is cheaper from there, wait and buy it from them when they go on sale. They're not planning to go on sale quite as early as we are. And here's the reason why we're rushing this ahead. Partly we want to do it for Christmas, obviously, but also on the 27th of November, so partway through next week, Sockman Siblings will be celebrating its first birthday. It's been a year since we first went on sale to sell the 4-ply version, and what a year it's been. You know, a lot has happened, good and bad, but mostly good. Certainly for us, we've had good steady sales, and I think it's been really wonderful to be able to bring this beautiful yarn and the beautiful colours and the messages behind the colours to so many people who may not have sort of known about that in the past. So we've been doing our bit to make the world a little bit better, yarny wise and HIV awareness and advocacy wise as well. So that's that plan. It's also 3 days before, the 27th is 3 days before the 1st of December. Now every year, the 1st of December is World AIDS Day. World AIDS Day is a really, really important day, I think. It's a day where we remember the millions of people who have been lost to this disease. The disease, I mean advanced HIV infection, what used to be called AIDS. And it's a day to be thankful for the advances in medical progress that have made my life possible as it is now. I have HIV, as many of you will know, some of you may not. And the tablets that I take every day, here they are in Wednesday's little tablet box. These tablets that I take every day, those 2 yellow ones and that blue one, they keep me alive, and they mean that I'm not going to get sick from the virus that lives inside my body. It's completely dormant, and it also means that I'm incapable of passing it on. I have an undetectable viral load thanks to those tablets, and there's not enough HIV in my body to cause me any harm or anyone else around me. So I am incredibly grateful to, I've said this before, I'm incredibly grateful to everybody who has lost their life. Actually, they are my personal heroes because they gave data and information, and their stories have helped my story to continue. And gosh, without that data, I wouldn't be, I might still be alive now. I've had HIV for nearly 2.5 years. But I might be quite sick by now. And that's a really, gosh, it's a very, very sobering thought. Before 1996, when this kind of therapy was devised and developed, 98% of people given an HIV positive diagnosis would be dead within 5 years. So there's a 50-50 chance that I wouldn't still be here right now if it weren't for those people. And that's why World AIDS Day is very important to me, and that's why the story of the yarn is an important one to get across. So if you want to support that and me, and 25% of the commission that I get from the yarn that gets sold by Skeins, obviously I buy some of it as well to pass on, we buy it wholesale, but has always been the case, 25% of the commission that I get for entering into this collaboration goes to the Bloomsbury Network, which is actually where I'm heading off immediately. I finished talking about this. It's the it's the patient support network at the clinic where I get my HIV care, and I'm so very grateful to them for the care they've given me and many countless hundreds others. They do a wonderful job, and they are now a registered charity, so it is my pleasure to be able to pass on 25% of the commission that I get from doing it. I actually haven't had a chance to give them any of the money yet because Sam and I needed to pay off our investors and capital things before and we haven't quite gone into profit yet. We're nearly there though, and I have £1,000 ready to give as a cheque for the money so far to the Bloomsbury Network. That's not bad, is it? That's really not bad. Thank you to everybody for making that possible. And the same will be true ongoing, so that's the DK rate as well. I will still be giving 25% to the Bloomsbury Network of my commission. Does that make sense? I better go. There will be more on this in due course. Keep watching my Instagram posts for updates, and I will see you very soon, I hope, with more to talk about. I will hopefully have more things going on with the book, with the yarn, with the updates, with did that get back on the needles or not. And I haven't had a chance to show you the green and yellow scarf, but you've seen it before. It's still growing, it's still getting longer. I still love doing it. It's DK brioche all the way, apart from Hampton Court, but that's DK lace and shaping. It's just, everything is about double knitting, right? Double knitting, as I constantly say in my classes, is the best knitting technique in the world, and I am here to prove it to each and every one of you. I hope I managed to do that with my enthusiastic and excited wittering on. So I'm going to wrap up because I have to go to the Bloomsbury Network. I'm on the steering committee there, and we have a very important meeting tonight about looking at the future of it, because I have a chairman stepping down after 20 years, which is going to be very, very sad. I'm sorry to see him go. He's become a very good friend. And we need to sort of work out what's going on. No, I'm not running for chairman. I'm not standing for it. I'm afraid I don't and won't be able to have the time to devote to it as much as I would like to, and I would want to do it properly, and I would be worried that I couldn't, so do not expect that to be the outcome of this story. But I'm going to give my opinions, and I'm going to continue being very proud to be part of the journey of the network. As I hope you are proud to continue being part of my journey. Thank you very much for staying with me. In light of all the adversity, I know there's a lot of people still out there who wish me ill, and that's very sad for them, really. It doesn't bother me anymore. Of course it does. But I do my best to move past it, and I wish they could too. So I wish they could find peace, really, from it all, because it can't be very nice to live with constant levels of anxiety and angst and anger and turmoil in your stomach. God knows I know what that's like. I wish them peace, I really do. And as for you all for staying with me, thank you very much. And while this podcast episode really now is a finished object, remember, life is very much a work in progress. Just take it one stitch at a time. See you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, it's me again. Don't worry, the podcast really is over. I've just popped in, however, to say if you enjoyed it and you want to make sure you never miss another episode, why not click on this handy little subscribe button right here. Don't say I never do anything for you. Or if you're worried that you might have missed out on some really fun stuff from previous episodes, I've got a playlist link for you here, which has got all of the previous Sockmatician podcast episodes on it, so you never need to feel out of the loop again. Bye for now.